Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're catching me on my YouTube channel, BitChute channel, and you can get me on Facebook also, all on True Divine 44. You can reach me at Instagram and Twitter at The True Divine. Any likes, shares, subscribes, comments, follows, greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated, and very much love to everybody who's doing that thus far. It's taken a while to grow the channel, but I love the people that are here and I appreciate everything that you all do. And I couldn't ask for better support from all of you guys. So this is writing on the wall. It's, very early in the morning. I've decided to get up for the day. So this is where I've gone into some remote viewing, stroke visions, stroke lucid dream, weird trip. And so it's not with an easy heart that I've come and put this message across. One, because I'm used to sharing messages with people. I'm used to sharing psychic knowings with people. But as far as the bigger things, the remote viewing and or some of the messages that I get from my true essence, my ancestors, just from the pool of the cosmos, that with all of the energy and water memory within it, that's a very personal and sacred space for me, and it's a very how do I put it? It's been a very private part of me, and a lot of the messages that I've gotten from being a child, either going into lucid dreaming or visionary expressions, or what I now know, didn't know as a child, to be remote viewing. I kept it to myself a lot because some of it was brilliant, some of it was beautiful, and some of it was, for a kid, really heavy to take. And it wasn't easy to put that on anybody, including my parents, even though I could tell my mother a lot because, of course, she is a spiritual warrior in her own right, and more so. But still, I'm very protective of my loved ones. I'm very protective of people in general. So I don't generally tend to put on to people very easily at all. And so this isn't with an easy heart that I bring this, but I know I'm ready and I'm supposed to be, and I've been pushed from my higher self to be doing this more. I know that it's divine timing that I do it more, to share more regarding the visions that I get, the interpretations of those visions that I get. And that's what I'm doing tonight. So after that long spiel, we'll get into it. So I've got the notes here that I frantically was making when I woke up, or what came out. And so war drums, loud and clear. War drums that are of epic proportions, really epic. In my daily readings, I've kept picking up on Iran, Persia. I've kept feeling very connected to King Darius, and my mom's got a big statue of him, and that she adores. And even just the energy from that, that my mom's put in, all of the research and knowing that she has from living in Iran, Persia. You can feel that energy rising up in the people there, in the natural rolling into the next cycle that we're doing. Again, it's going to be interrupted, and what would be their natural uprising to bring Iran back to its Persian roots, back to being Persia. It's being hijacked again. And so this time I'm going to take you through it in general regarding what I went through and the notes that I took as I woke up. So I was guided by a very Iranian-looking man with a very kindly manner, a very gentle but firm manner, who didn't speak too much, but when he spoke, I listened. And I was in a big street. I could smell the flatbread. I could smell the fresh fruit and vegetables, see them on stalls. I could see the street and describe it to a T. I'm sure it was Tehran. Um, I could hear the Farsi going on in the background. Some of the words that sounded very familiar to me from my mother speaking Farsi and my stepfather being Iranian, Persian. And so, but I'm in no way fluent. I could just recognize that that was another marker of knowing where I was and just having this inner knowing of where I was. And so we're walking along this street, and it goes on to state that Iran has held off from war for as long as possible. One, because the powers that be that have overtaken the people there and have oppressed the people there don't want any kind of war to shake that up, because they know they're just on a button, on a click of the people rising up, getting fed up with the regime there, the religious regime, the religious police. And so they don't want any of that to be shaken up. And also, there's another section of very strong powers that be that have knowledge of codes of artifacts that's kept coming up in the daily readings. So that correlated with that. Goes on to state about Israel being the driving force of wanting World War III and harnessing, those were the words, America's corrupt government and naive people. Now, I know that was said with love because we have all been naive to a great extent. That's what's gotten to where we are now. I'm not going to defend it, I'm just going to speak it out. Who will be made to think that they need war. And of course, that I know that that doesn't mean all of you. I feel like I'm being too careful here, but I love you. I love my American brothers and sisters, and I happen to have a lot of them that are very awake and aware. And so I know that that wouldn't count for you, but there are many that it will. Continuing to walk down this street, which was super wide, very busy street, cars honking, no road safety like we have in the UK, absolutely not. And so it went on to state, as we walked, that nobody was aware of him nor me. And that's when I noticed that actually nobody could see that I was there, which is good. I prefer it that way when I'm remote viewing. I tend to get out when, unless it's in a very benevolent place, when people or things become aware of me remote viewing. And so that made me relax a bit more and take in the sights a bit more, seeing the colors, smelling the smells. I could smell oil perfume on some of the women, and I remembered that from my mom when within this vision, this quest. I could remember my mom saying they wear oil perfume because it's the heat there. They need the oil perfume. The other just doesn't last. One thing I did notice is that I wasn't affected by the elements. I could tell that it was hot. I could tell that it was, a lot warmer than the UK is right now, but I wasn't, neither felt hot nor cold. I very much was separate too, holographic like within this street. He said things on all sides have been positioned, that all sides are way, way further down the line towards this war than they've been letting on. Immediately, I thought in my mind then, this is the distractions, the distractions, the distractions, the distractions. All the money is being transferred, biggest up pay. I had all of these thoughts going on in my head, all of the knowings that I have. And it snapped me back into focusing on what I was there to focus on. What was weird is I didn't go here intentionally. And so he said Israel was even going to use Iranian forces to break down American forces. So where they are acting like is America's friend, to a certain extent, they are using America's naivety to act as their muscle in order to break itself down on their behalf. So they can fully and openly take over. He said they will use religious prophecy to even have a large number of people of all different kinds of religions praise and worship the takeover of a false prophet figure. And so even people who aren't even of the same or correlated religion will be so upset and shocked because they've been so asleep all this time by this war that they will even praise in somebody else's Messiah coming in or prophet or to alleviate and externalize what they haven't been able to face thus far, getting them to this point in the first place. I asked how we could stop this. He replied, we cannot. Yeah. My heart sunk at that point a little bit, I must admit. Since Israel has infiltrated behind the curtain of America, were his words, no one can back down now. Israel wants what we have, and we will use will use America to get certain codes that we have. They know we have them. That's come up in the daily readings, which is why I feel quite intense reading this out, which is why I feel quite not what I want to be saying, but knowing that I can't not say it. And so it's taken a certain level of bravery to put this out. But you know, who might not be brave right now? Goodness sake, this is exactly what I've been talking about being. And so this is my vulnerable place, I suppose. And so put me in front of somebody who needs protecting physically, emotionally, mentally. I'm there like a bulldog. No fear. But my vulnerable place, this is it. I don't like upsetting people or hurting people. And so immediately, that's when I realized we were off the street. We were in a completely different area, and I didn't even know how we'd gotten there. It was a flash, a blink of an eye. And it was we were in the middle of what felt like a desert area. There was a huge hangar, almost unnoticeable, being the same color as its environment, as all of the environment around it. It was under very heavy guard, both on top of it and around it, which was pretty intimidating, I must say. Under heavy armed guard, Again, the people were not aware of us being there, thank goodness. There were at least 12 people inside that were dressed in slightly different uniform, on top of the ones that are around and outside and on top. They were very busy, very focused with what seemed to be a checklist type of routine with repetitive words in Farsi, one shouting out, another checking off after repeating what had been shouted out to them. So the person checking, like shouting out the check, was then given that shout out was given to the person with the checklist, who was then shouting back the word to clarify. And then there was a nod to clarify before it was checked off. It seemed very routine, but very serious, and not to be making mistakes on. And so what had been shouted out to them before marking it off, they were checking off the most amazing looking fighter jet type thing. It went way beyond my childhood memories of an uncle being in the RAF and being quite high up. So I got to go and sit in a Harrier jump jet as a kid, which is pretty awesome. It was far superior to that. Similar dynamics, but far superior to that, far superior. I'm saying so much. This jet ended up, and this is the bit that you're gonna have to just either take it or leave it. And I'll wait until it comes up in the future. I'll take the thanks then. It's not thanks, I'm only trying to joke. This jet disappeared. It disappeared. All but disappeared. It was, all I can describe it as if you could just see the sort of energetic imprint of where the jet was. If I hadn't known there was a jet there, I would have thought I was seeing some kind of energy plasma type, thing. How you see a spirit and you can sort of see the imprint of it. That's how it was. Think of the Predator movie, if any of you saw that, and you can just sort of see the more fluid area in the trees, which is the outline of the Predator. I think that's what you called it anyway. It was like that. It was crazy. You could see I was shocked. If you were looking at this, like I say, if you didn't know it was in the hangar, you would think something very strange was going on, because up close you would see the imprint as I've just described. If you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't necessarily know it was there at a glance. At high speed, that this thing very definitely looked like it could do, you wouldn't see a thing. For sure. And so he knew I looked shocked, so I locked on his eyes. He said they will not know where and when they are coming from. Iran has been backed into a corner. American people know not what their government do and how far down the line they've gone already. Israel knows this, but do not actually care, because they are quite happy for their own people to be killed, he said, and for American people to be killed, as well as many other people. Syria came up. Iran has actually made more allies than we think, quietly behind the scenes, knowing that this time was coming. knowing that the powers that be that are in cahoots with Iran, with Israel, we're going to help push for this. We're going to help push this along. He did say to me everybody was aware, not of all of the facts, but everybody in high office was aware. Deep state were in control. They don't care about the loss of blood on all of these sides, because ultimately it will only do the heavy lifting and heavy work for them to come in and usurp America openly and freely, and have another opportunity to force their prophecy. So I'm gonna, you can see why that was heavy, because obviously I've got so many people in America now that I care for so much, and not as if I didn't before, because I care for everybody around the world, but there's people I've made real connections with, and them me, and we care for each other enough to worry about each other's welfare, to care about how each other are doing. And so this is heavy for me, because it felt almost imminent because of where we've allowed this to get to, what we've allowed ourselves to cling on to, the false patriotism, not false from the heart of the people who hold it, no, but from what is behind it, actually the symbolism, the energy that is behind it. It's a false god, because it's actually never going to get you anywhere in the political system as it is. Same here in the UK, same in France, same in Germany, same in Australia, same in Canada. And this is something that we have to accept if we want to stop things like this happening. To be honest, how I feel and what I saw and what I've been feeling coming up in the daily energy readings, as any of you who've been listening to me know, it's been heavy. I felt it coming, and I realized that this is why I had this guidance to see this tonight. So I'm gonna do a diagram. That's what I'm gonna do. Have I got the pen? Have I got the pen? I haven't got the pen. So I'm not going to do a diagram. So picture this. I had done a diagram on there. Israel and China, cahoots, working together. Israel using the US to harness the power of the military there to attack Iran, Persia. Along with that, Iran has already made alliances, and I'm not totally at this point free to say with who exactly. It's those placements that, and I want to clarify it further before I speak it out. So then we've got US attacking Iran, thinking it's got the backing and thinking it's in correlation with Israel, when actually Israel are getting them to be the muscle for their own agenda at the end of this, knowing that Israel is already working with China, have already set out deals as to how they will divvy up the dividends. On top of that, the deep state within America has been working to help this along, to make the deals, to sell the land, to sell the shares, the retirement funds to China. So we have the attack coming from the outside, but really it's like the inside because of how kind America has been to Israel. And we have the outside attacking, and we also have Iran, Persia attacking in defense of being privy to a lot of this information and a lot of these connections, and they've held off from this as much as they can because they don't want to stop their oppression and their religious policing. But everybody's being forced by Israel. The chessboard is attempting to do checkmate. Heavy. So this was heavy enough that this doesn't just affect the soldiers, it affects women, men, children alike. You can always learn something, even from the nastiest, most negative energies that come in your life, even from the most heartbreaking energies that come in your life, to the blissful and awesome energies that come in your life. There's something to learn from each and every one of them. I've learned from somebody who was a blissful energy just last week that I need to be more bold regarding business. The other thing is that you can take the nastiest energy, like these globalists, these even eugenicists, and you can say, what can I learn from them? They're borderless. Borderless. They don't have any one affiliation to any one land. They'll make alliances with enemies. They'll make alliances with so-called friends. They don't know how to have friends really, but in their standard friends, they'll make alliances with the poor. They'll make alliances with the rich to get whatever they want. They're borderless. And they truly have, in one way or another, yes, it's in a lower frequency form, have created a connection to the all. They've built systems that connect us all. We have forgotten that. We, as a people worldwide, have been tricked, manipulated, and complacent to believe the two-sided system, the choice, the parties, the vote. And we want to cling on to that so much because it's the main thing that makes us feel like we've got some kind of divinity and sovereignty and choice in our lives. When actually it's like saying to a kid, there's half a sweet. Don't worry about the other half. Never mind, don't worry about the bucket of sweets, of goodies that there is for you to discover if you don't just take this half a sweet. If you look further, if you look past my limitation. That's what we have to do, and that's what we can actually even learn from the darkest of the dark, from the lowest of the low. We can learn that one thing they have been real good at is being in connection and working together, creating connections and working together, even sticking together. Yes, we're coming to a point where things are going to break away because people have used people enough to get to where they need to get to. But up until now, they've even worked together with their worst enemies. They've even managed to show us or look to us like they're all friends. So they're focused, they're driven on not being limited to a border, a country, any one land. None of us own this place. None of us can come on this abundant, beautiful, alive being that is the motherland, the Mother Earth, Gaia, however you resonate calling it, and say that we only belong to one space in it when she welcomes us in all spaces. You know, for us to be tricked like this, that the very problems of war like this only exist because of egotistical, corrupt, manipulative, bastard leaders that enjoy having the power and control and ego-driven obesity from the beings that control them, from the very algorithms that have pushed them, from the very much more advanced beings that have puppeted them. All of these things, disease, unfairness in medicine, whether that is plant medicine or whether that is scientific medicine, it all comes from the same source. One way or another, we're connecting elements together from our mother. For them to cause things by having the ego to think that they don't want to pay for the very gas that they're using in a fair price just because one country has less of an army than them. No, we'll just go in and take it. We'll just create these rifts amongst the collective. We're going to go and sit pretty in our towers once we've taken this gas and the money's rolling in and the dials are going round as we're filling up the cars and the vans and the trucks and the trains and whatever else. And we'll let them fight amongst themselves. We'll let them send their daughters and sons, husbands and wives off to battle for us to go and get more. Rather than just saying, you've got good minerals, we've got these minerals. You pay us for that, we'll pay us for you pay us for this, we'll pay you for this. Fair dues. World goes round. Even the very monetary system and the way it's built up, it's all a lie. These wars over money, over debt, over relief would not exist. The countries that they say they're giving so much relief to, they're actually raping and plundering more than they ever give of any of your hard-working tax dollars or pounds. All of that's going to come out. All of it is. But it's only going to come out. It's going to come out anyway, but it's only going to come out quickly and swiftly if we push for it, if we stop falling for the narratives. This is where you have to not be of any of this game. To not have any skin in this game other than to look for the natural abundance within ourselves that connects to the all around us. To go back to the Mayan people who were decimated and ignored, and see that the cycles coming in, and just like I've said in these daily readings that I do, it's up to us to decide how this cycle comes in. It's up to us to infuse this cycle with what we would wish to leave as the fruits from the trees to feed the next generations that we're going to be leaving behind. What do we want them to live amongst? What kind of cycle do we want to bring in? The cycles are coming in. The energies are there to harness for good or bad. But, there's going to be a bit of a hard job. There's going to be a bit of hard work here. There's going to be a little bit of a push needed here. Not to push for a specific side. Both sides, both puppets in front are hiding things from us that would create wealth, abundance, free energy. That both sides in any one country are doing that. And we're still arguing and backing one and not the other. In the UK too. Even in the UK doing that regarding the US, people that are running for president now. One trying to stay and one trying to get in, sorry. We need to look past this. We need to be more spiritually awake and aware than this. Otherwise, this that is coming is going to be far harsher and far more intense and red, bloody than it ever needed to be. We need to start making a noise now about the things that they're hiding. The strategies and ships and subs and planes that all sides have already got in place. And we need to be brave enough. Why do you think they've been so, when you think about it, they've been so insidious about making us feel so guilty about saying anything regarding Israel. Through their political correctness, through us being afraid of judgment. I say this as in defense of the Israeli people, not government, as much as any of the rest of us. We are all the same. All sides, all sections of the collective community have been lied to, manipulated, and controlled, and limited, and oppressed. We, just because this is their plan, and just because this is what I've seen, and just because this felt pretty intensely like, yeah, it's going to happen, I refuse to just say that. Yes, there might be the 60-40 chance, 70-30, but we still have a window, but we don't have time for games. We don't have time for distractions. We don't have time to continue to bolster this system up by falling for their distractions each and every time, and never believing that it would be quite so extravagant to go to quite such an extreme to cover up their malevolent ways. During this year, they have stolen and uppaid the biggest uppay since financial records began. They've already got a lot of people and the collective in general on their knees. It's not going to be hard to take over countries when we're already on our knees. When the very place it started at, which wasn't just the Chinese government, it was the American government and the UK government and whoever else setting up lab there, building it up there, because right now China's booming. We need to wake up. These people are not for us. Their rules and their laws are not for us. We're doing the bidding for the very beings that have harmed the mother and the collective the most for far too long. And it's our role to say no to this, to make a noise about this, make this go viral, that you say no to war, that you say no to backing Israel, that you say no to any of your tax dollars or tax pounds going to back that nefarious system, that nefarious government. They don't even believe in their own propaganda. They don't even believe in their own religions. And this doesn't just go for Israel, because there's plenty of them that try, Christianity as well, that try and keep bringing in prophecy. You don't have to, if you believe in your prophecy, you don't have to bring it in. You don't have to manipulate the circumstances. If you really think there's going to be, if you really believe in your heart that your Messiah or your false prophet or your real prophet's going to come back and save you all, then you don't have to manipulate circumstances. What kind of Messiah, what kind of prophet needs to have lesser beings, create the circumstances for the entry point, for their big entrance? No. If they really believed in the propaganda that they sell to the people that are following the religion, then they wouldn't have to do this. They wouldn't be so intent on being all powerful, all rich, because they would feel like they were then, I don't know, would it not be sacrilege? Of course it would be. They don't even believe their own flaming lies that they give to people. They enjoy the sacrifices that they make the collective do each and every day. And they love the wars. They've decided they want something, and this time it's something big. This time it's the globe or the world. I say this realm. We can't let them have it, but we've got to be super discerning as to not being distracted by the very games that and it's hard. There's some things that are hard to let go of, being controlled and manipulated, and they feel good. Gives you that camaraderie, but it only gives you one side, and therefore you're divided. Therefore you're already weakened, and we can't be that. We can't be that, because we can't allow this to come in. And if it has to come in, because they're not going to let go of their plans easily, if it has to come in, then we limit it. We limit it. We limit them. We use it to out them, to show them for what they are, so that the plan is never fulfilled. We can't give this over to them. I'm going to leave it there, because I'm ranting on, and I could rant on all day. And it's now 4:30 in the morning, so I'm going to get ready for my day, put a jumper on and do something different. It was heavy, I know. Take of it what you will. I can't force you to see what I saw, but I don't usually guarantee, but I guarantee over this next week, information is going to start flowing. Information is going to start flowing. Regarding all of the distractions and just why they've been distracting us so much. Let's be discerning, sovereign, divine, warriors, Vikings, all of those things that, resonate with you. The Native Americans fought hard to keep the land. The Persians, fought hard. We need to fight hard, but in a different way. We need to fight right now, not a day later, with our minds, take back this. Stop letting them into this. Stop letting them manipulate this. Stop giving of this, and lead with this heart brain. There's brain tissue in your heart, and it resonates 100,000 times a higher frequency than we can resonate from here. And this is what they've flipped the script even here. You know, we need it's the heart chakra that enlightens the upwards and outwards. You know, this is where we get that higher consciousness. So let's do this. Leave your comments. I'll be you know, you can leave them whether you agree or disagree. I'll take no offense, and I promise you won't hurt me or hurt my feelings. It's important to be able to have open dialogue. It's important to be able to have other people's points of views. But today, do me a favor, whether this sits with you right or not. It obviously won't sit right with anybody, but you know what I mean. Infuse your thoughts, your words, and your deeds today with powerful, powerful thoughts and words and deeds about self. Do things that elevate you rather than degrade you. Do things that make you feel good. Do things that make you feel powerful, that make you feel rich. And do something that is of action, whether that's sending an email, sending a tweet, you know, and being on it, pounding the very social media that they made to dumb us down, to say no to this, to say no to any of all of this. You know, until we've, you know, if they really want to be good, if they really want to be good leaders and get all of the money that they've gotten, all of the riches that they've been allowed, you know, let them be truthful. Let them tell us all of the conspiracy theorists, all of us. Let them repeat the conspiracy theorists and agree with them. They aren't theories anymore. But they're not going to. We need to get that through to our heads. So hold them to account. It'll show them up for what they are when they don't give us the answers that we deserve. Worldwide, being played. So stop talking, Jenny. Damn. Much love. Stay balanced and stay whole. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And thank you for listening to this. Mwah.